Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater. And once again, Mark Hamill is trolling the fine folks at Lucasfilm. Actually, more importantly, I think he's trolling Rian Johnson. I think he is not happy with where things have gone, and I think he is taking his shots wherever he can. But before we jump into it, do me a favor and throw a like and a subscribe if you're new. It definitely helps the channel out. But here's what Mark Hamill tweeted out yesterday morning, and I will fully admit I just missed it until today. He says here, "The Force killed Luke. You have to acknowledge the irony in his fate. Almost like an addict that kicked his habit cold turkey, remained clean for decades, only to reuse just once and then tragically overdoses. Hashtag sad Skywalker, hashtag Force fatality, hashtag Jedi junkie." Now, doesn't that seem like he is, in fact, trolling the ever-loving hell out of Rian Johnson, right? We know that he feels like this wasn't Luke Skywalker, like this was somebody else, like this was Jake Skywalker. He said it himself in interviews. He's made many comments about the franchise, about the film, about what happened to his character, one that he'd played for 40 years. And you know that he's not a huge fan. But just taking a look here at the panels that he posted, and I've covered this before when I talked about the ending for The Last Jedi, confirmed that Luke Skywalker did die. This, by the way, was written by Chuck Wendig, who was just fired last week for his tweets that were very, very, very mean towards Trump supporters. Anyway, showing this one here, Luke, after the battle on Crate, looking over to the twin sun saying, "And so it ends as it began. And then by the light of two suns before stepping into a larger world." Now, remember when I covered this before, it was obviously meant to be final, right? Never mind the fact that his cloak didn't disappear. His cloak remained, but the metal hand disappeared. Again, that is a continuity error that Mark Hamill has brought up on multiple occasions. But it really does go to show you exactly what is happening here in regards to how Hamill feels about this, right? Now, he says here, just because I want to go over it again, right? Because again, this feels very odd to me. "The Force killed Luke. You have to acknowledge the irony in his fate. Almost like an addict that kicked his habit cold turkey, remained clean for decades, only to reuse just once and then tragically overdoses." Now, that is true. It was definitely, he cut himself off from the Force. I wouldn't say for decades. It was definitely a long period of time while he was on Octu, angry at himself, bitter over his own actions for attempting to kill his nephew. We get that, fine. It was out of character, as in everything else with Luke Skywalker in the Last Jedi. And then he all of a sudden, is able to force doppelganger himself all the way over to Crate, somehow knowing exactly where everyone is going to be, as if he's got Crate on speed dial for the Force. I know people are going to argue, but him and Leia are connected. He sensed her through the Force, and Rey was there too, and Kylo, and he probably could just go, that was a huge Force beacon all the way on the other side of the galaxy. I get that, fine. But he shows up, does his thing, and then OD's on the Force. So Mark Hamill is effectively saying that Luke Skywalker OD'd on crack cocaine, known as midichlorians, and it ultimately killed him. I just have to say this because I believe this is to be true at this point. Can this movie literally get any worse? Can it get any freaking worse? Every time we break into the subtext of the scenes, every time they try to do more, like with the novelization and with the comic book, to add maybe a little bit more to it, we're constantly reminded of how subpar, just inadequate, and meh this movie is. They should just strike the name Star Wars from it. This is like Never Say Never, that Bond film starring Sean Connery that wasn't through Everything or Nothing Productions, that technically wasn't even really a Bond film in canon. It doesn't exist in that regard. We should just treat The Last Jedi like this. That is why part of me is hoping that Disney will come out and say, that Star Wars Episode 9 is really going to be 2 parts. It's going to be Part 9 and Part 10. Or Episode 9 and 10, and then you're gonna get the full trilogy. We're just gonna forget that The Last Jedi even happened. course, it's not going to happen, but a fan can dream. But seriously, when Mark Hamill comes out, and he's probably making a joke here, having a little bit of fun, but there's always some truth in jokes. We know he doesn't like the character, what happened to the character. We know, like, you can go back and you can watch his reaction right after the world premiere of the movie, right, last year, when all the cast gets on stage and Rian Johnson's all like, "Hey guys, did you like my movie? I did it really good." Right? You can see Mark Hamill's reaction, and it is not one of elation. It is not one of my character's journey is complete. It's one of, what the did I just watch? We all know it. We get it. Right? 90% of communication is nonverbal. And that, my friends, was a bonfire of nonverbal communication. Which is one of the reasons why he's back for this movie, for episode 9. What, he's going to be a Force ghost, fine. They're not going to have him walk away just yet. They're going to make him do one last cool thing, and then JJ's going to bring the cool, and that's going to be that. Oh God. Every time we bring up The Last Jedi in a new light, it just gets even more worse, which is not proper grammar. It gets even worse. It's even crappier. This is going to be a blight on Star Wars for years to come. You think The Phantom Menace was bad? We're almost 20 years into The Phantom Menace from it being a reality. People mock The Phantom Menace. They still go back and watch it because, you know, there's a couple good moments. Darth Maul, Duel of the Fates, pod racing. The Last Jedi in 20 years, and they'll go back, you know, it was shot well. It looked pretty. What's your favorite part? Oh, man. The throne room fight scene, the fight on Crate, that was cool. What about the rest of the movie? Yeah, it sucked. That's what we're gonna hear, and it will be very deserved. And this sucks coming from a Star Wars fan. Anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know down in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been 3 Buck Theater. If you made it this far, just type The Last Jedi sucks in the chat so I know. Be sure to thumbs up the video, subscribe, support on Patreon if you want to help out with that. Link below in the video description. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.